Raven and Jeff Hardy.
The actual match?
The build first, the other 2 segments they had.
What were the other 2 segments they had?
Well, there was the one that instigated it, which is also, once again, one of my favorite segments.
Oh, yeah, where like Raven's like, hey man, you're real popular with Hot Topic.
Yeah.
And Raven's like, I'm real popular with Hot Topic and people who drink Jack Daniels.
Yeah, they're like the 2 different spectrum of emo dudes.
Yeah. And I think we could be the greatest metalcore band of all time if we unite. And then Jeff's like, no.
But politely, he's like, no man, I'm good.
And then Raven's like, fuck you!
I never wanted a team anyway!
I don't want a team anyway!
And that's the entire basis of their feud.
Yeah, it's pretty great, to be honest. That's all you need.
We've literally covered all the other segments. There's the segment where Raven attacks Cassidy Riley and Abyss and Styles makes the save. There's the segment where Raven hits him with a trash can. Then there's that main event tag. That's everything in this feud.
Garrett, do you remember when on one of these, this is a rare different you remember, how on one of these shows there was 2 matches?
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at the moment. Shit's crazy.
Well, one of them was a 21-minute main event, to be fair.
Yeah, and then there was one that had like 3 matches as well. There was 2 4-match cards.
I do feel like this month they are messing with format a little more.
Yeah, I think they're trying to find out some different things.
They're trying to work out, like, what does Impact look like if we have one long main event, a couple of features, and a squash? What does Impact look like if we have, like, 3 decent length matches, 2 of which are, like, star-driven, because the other match on that 3-match card is AMW The Naturals.
What does Impact look like if we have a full pay-per-view 8-match card?
All of which are squashes. So yeah, I do think they're kind of tweaking and experimenting with the format of Impact a little bit to see what it looks like. Especially because, as I said, they're going into TV now, they're shooting 3 at a time. Which I think hurts the TV a little bit because, like, not like the crowd were super energetic for TV as it is, but because that crowd has to sit through 3 Impact tapings now, full of, like, 75 squash matches, they just kind of lose interest. So I think even some of the good matches lose a bit of energy. But I also think part of that is, like, they're throwing together shows and throwing together stuff, and maybe they probably shoot a little too they're not used to like shooting 3 shows in a row, so they're not used to formatting 3 shows in a row, so sometimes they're probably light and heavy on how much they've shot versus how much they need, so they're probably like fumbling their way through it.
Yeah, it was an interesting month for seeing how TV panned out.
So yeah, those are all the builds. We then takes us to Jeff Hardy versus Raven in a tables match. It's never really announced as a tables match. I'm sure it says it on the scroll at one stage, but there's never like a moment where like, this is going to be a tables match.
This match rocks.
This is like the dumbest, stupidest match, but in a good way.
Yeah, this is what you want from Jeff Hardy and Raven. Like, you're not going in there expecting work rate classic from this. You want them to hit each other with shit. You want them to fall through tables, which they do a lot. You want to look at spots and be like, ooh, how's that going to work? And that happens.
Yeah.
So it's just a complete car crash in a cage with a bunch of tables. And I will give them credit here. This is one of the matches and one of the reasons I thought, despite the fact that I have a visceral negativity towards an old cage pay-per-view, the way they did it, I think it worked out fine because these matches did feel different. And that's the major component of it. And this is one of those matches that just felt different. Because they didn't really focus much on the cage beyond using it as a platform of which to fall off.
Which is the ideal for cage matches, frankly.
Yeah. And plus, that final bump in that match looks like so much fun.
Yeah, so they solve, I think, the fatal flaw with tables matches in that there's one table bump, and there's a bunch of matches that have lots of table bumps, and they're good. And they're like, alright, so we have to work multiple table bumps into this in order for it to be interesting. So, like, within the first 2 minutes, Raven charges through a table and misses and crashes and burns.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's how you do a table match.
Yeah, Hardy goes for a swanton off the cage, also crashes and burns through a table.
Yeah, you know what I've always wanted?
What?
And you can pitch this, alright? Iron Man table match.
Ooh, like 60?
You don't have to go 60, but like, say it's like 20 minutes, right? 20-minute Iron Man match. And it's just whoever goes through the table the more times.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, it'd be an awesome match, right? And especially if you did it with like a team, like a tag team table Iron Man match. Because then like, people can have breaks and don't have to go through 17 themselves. They can split it up. But I just think it'd be fun. And like, to see how high that number could get too.
Yeah, I think I might top it out at 15 minutes. Because I think 20 might feel a little long.
Especially when it's essentially the same spot over and over again.
Yeah, I think that idea rocks. People should do it.
All right, write it down.
We all know that this podcast is incredibly influential.
You can call it Tag Table Turmoil.
There you go. T4. The T4 match and the pain bow. They're free. People can take them.
Whoa, free.
I'm giving away Liam's intellectual property.
But yes, I think that's a fantastic idea.
It is. So they opened the cage door and Raven crotched Hardy on the cage door, but then Hardy immediately swung the door into Raven's head.
Not as good as the other time.
And then hit the stupidest thing in this match. So he closes the cage door again and he's on top of the cage. And he just kind of falls onto Raven, who gets his foot up. But Jeff lands like feet first after falling off a cage, or like landing off a cage.
Yeah, he does a double stomp to the ring.
I don't know how he doesn't just break his knees.
If I was him, my shin would have shot up my leg and pierced through my patella and just like gone all the way through.
And like, as he said, he's not even doing a double stomp. He's doing like, he's just a classic.
He's just falling onto his ankles and knees.
It's like a classic pro wrestling flying nothing. And Raven gets his foot up, but he does it off a fucking cage.
It's insane.
So as you mentioned, the finish. They stack 4 tables, the classic 2-on-2. Andrew Thomas actually helps him, which is very nice of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I'm not going to get mad about that.
Referee assists with construction.
Well, it comes back to bite Raven in the ass anyway.
Yeah, so they climb up onto the ropes, and then Hardy knocks Raven onto these 2 stacked tables in a way that would terrify me that those tables would hold. Because he very, like, softly, gingerly lies on them just in case they tumble.
Yeah. But, like, wouldn't you just love to do this Jeff Hardy dive?
Yeah, so the finish is Hardy climbs the top of the cage while Raven is lying on top of the 2x2 stack.
Is it 2x2 or is it 6?
It's 2x2.
No, it's 2x2, you're right.
It's 2 high, 2 wide.
Yeah. I thought it might have been 2 high, 3 wide. Which again just sounds even more fun.
It does. Hardy just ass first cannonballs off the top, plummeting Raven through a few of the tables. 2 of them didn't break, but it looked great. It just looked like so much fun. It's just like, wee!
Yeah, it just went boom, 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 boom. Like going down a bumpy slide.
Yeah, it wasn't even the case where like, oh, that looked like it sucked for Raven. It looked like it was probably okay for him too.
Yeah. Like Jeff broke the tables, he just slid.
It is as well as that bump could have gone. I think it went.
If I was Raven, I would have started chuckling on the way down.
Oh, it was fun. Listen to these tables break beneath me.
Yeah, and what a satisfying sound too.
Yeah, and Hardy does win the steel cage tables match.
I went 4 on this. I thought it rocked.
What did I go? I went 3.5?
3.5.
Good match, fun match, silly match, but the right kind of silly match.
3 4-star matches on this card for me.
Wow, and you were like, this show isn't even good.
By TNA standards, this is show of the year.
Well, it's probably not. They've had some good shows.
Not this year, but generally.
It would have run away with it in 2004.
Oh, it wouldn't have even been a question.